I'll ban me. Yeah, we're live.
What's up, my friend? How we doing?
I'm watching for the people that we're watching for.
There you go. How we doing, everybody? How we doing? Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Do not forget to like and subscribe.
It's a show already, Jody. I've got the other feed over on my other monitor here, so I can keep an eye on things and take some action if I have to.
You know what? This episode right here ain't nothing but soapbox material. Have we ever had a show when it was just extremely just soapbox?
No, but it's fitting that it is. I mean, given the events of last weekend, it's really weird, man. Like, where do you even want to begin?
Well, today is Wednesday, and it feels like the events that took place happened yesterday.
Yeah. And then I completely forget to set up the stream, and all of a sudden, oh, yeah, we're going on today. So 15 minutes ago, but we got some people tuning in. We got 4 people watching us so far, so that's good. One of them is me on my other monitor, unfortunately. So,
hey, people, chime in if you need to. Chime in, because I'm going to tell you what, you're going to have to listen to what I have to say. So before I get into it, I got my Monster energy drink, so I'm ready to go off. Now, how would you explain the events that took place over the weekend?
Well, how would I explain it?
Yeah.
So if we're talking specifically about arm gods,
arm wrestling in general.
Well, if I were to just focus in on arm gods, well, there's more, of course, there's more.
Well, you watched the event, didn't you?
I did.
Okay.
I thought you had a ton of really awesome arm wrestling matches set up that were overshadowed by the gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
You did have awesome matches. There was awesome matches. Some of the best matches I've ever seen, like the Bogdan Stoica BLM match was fantastic. Unfortunately, to overshadow that, we have one guy saying his elbow was dislocated, and that's why he didn't win the match. Well, my God, man, just take the loss. That's all.
Whose elbow got dislocated?
BLM made a post that he dislocated his elbow on the second match. And my thought of that is, I've had dislocations. BLM must be the toughest man walking planet Earth if he continued to arm wrestle with a dislocated elbow.
Right.
And hung in there amazingly well for somebody that had a joint that was not intact. So I have a feeling that might not be an accurate diagnosis, but anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Right.
Ron Bath versus Ryan Bowen. Super entertaining to watch off the first couple of goes. Ron made a post, said it wasn't, it was difficult, or it wasn't easy, but it wasn't that difficult or something. And I thought, well, that's a backhanded compliment, because it looked like Bowen gave him a pretty good go in the first couple of rounds.
See, I think, and this is my opinion, I think Ryan Bowen could be one of the smartest people on the table, but it seems like he loses to people who are just stronger than he is.
Yeah.
You know?
He did use a King's move, and he was really low.
Damn.
Like, they didn't have a rule about the positioning of the body in the King's move in that particular promotion. So,
of course not, it's ECW.
Yeah. And I keep coming back to what I want to talk about, which is, let's talk about the press conference. Okay.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
there is no kayfabe in arm wrestling. So
I'm going to say this right now, and this where we at the 4-minute mark? Okay, 4.5-minute mark. I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to say something, and somebody's going to say, Jody, you're being racist, right? When I say this, let's talk about the white elephant in the room. Boom, there you go.
Okay.
Now I'm being racist.
I'm going to ask you what somebody asked me. Why does the elephant got to be white?
Okay. Have you ever heard, hey, let's talk about the purple elephant in the room? No one's ever said that.
The pink elephant. I've heard about the pink elephant.
We'll go with the pink elephant. Why I got to be pink? You know what? So But yeah, let's talk about the press conference. That's what kickstarted the whole weekend, right? Now,
Yeah.
what'd you think of it before I go ahead and just go off the deep end?
I only watched the final segment.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole lot of people saying, oh, that was set up, it was fake. And all of a sudden, you have these people that are, the defense is it wasn't fake blood, it was real blood. We know it was real blood. There's no kayfabe in arm wrestling.
They don't even know what kayfabe is, do they?
Kayfabe is like the secrets you keep in wrestling, the stuff that you do behind, like you cannot reveal the work of it all.
Stick to the story.
So Evan hits Uncle John sort of in the side and the back of the head with a beer can. The camera cuts away, and then there are cuts right on the front of the forehead. Why does pro wrestling use the front of the forehead? And gig, it's called, by actually just taking a total little razor blade and blading yourself. A, it bleeds a tremendous amount, and it's great for show. And B, it heals really well and easily. I watched that. I believe that that's what happened. Now, if they're trying to maintain kayfabe, I might have just blown the whole thing up. But I wouldn't be the first one to call that for what it is. The beer can didn't look like it was even close to where the cuts were. And I've never seen in all my life, and I was a bouncer for 15 years, somebody get hit with a beer can and end up with very deep cuts on their head. Doesn't happen.
Now,
yes.
I've been a glass, no problem. I would have totally got that. But here's what I got. I saw this coming before the press conference even started. I saw this unfold because you grew up watching professional wrestling. I grew up watching professional wrestling. So did Uncle John. Evan might have. I don't know. But we see all this going on. And because we know the ins and outs of that, it's funny to see people go, oh, no, that was real blood, man. I had people messaging me going, hey, it was real. I'm like, yeah,
it was real, but it wasn't.
The blood's real, yeah.
It wasn't hard way. It wasn't hard way blood,
right? Oh, he got stitches. No shit. I understand that. No one's saying that the blood was fake. No one's saying the stitches were fake. As we have the Lucky Ones podcast, welcome to the show. Phil Woody, right? The Gia, welcome to the show. Here's my thing. So I look at it this way, the age-old question. Ryan, you've been around this sport for a while, longer than me. I've been around, this is what, year 14 for me in the sport. And, that age-old question, how come we can't get our sport in the Olympics and blah, 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 blah. I'm over that shit. When people look at this, right? And by the way, let's look at it this way. We want to get more people in our sport. Okay, cool. Now, when they see this, they're going to be like, what the fuck is this? And by the way, if I'm a promoter or organization, I go to somebody and say, hey, we want to hold an arm wrestling event at your venue, assembly hall, convention center, whatever, and they're not real, keen on what we do, look it up on YouTube, what arm wrestling is all about, and they stumble upon that, and they're going to be like, no, I don't want that circus at my venue.
Yeah. I do appreciate that Uncle John leaned into it and said, this is the match that will ruin arm wrestling forever. But he might be right. Well, I don't give them that kind of power. It's a legit promotion, but with shit like that, I mean, I'm not buying again. I'm sorry, guys. And I won't participate in the circus either, because it's just not something that, Lucky, unfortunately, what's keeping us out of the Olympics isn't that. It's
right.
It's money. Like, we don't have the funds to do it. But I'm not leaning back into this thing where there's violence. Like, I get it. You have weigh-ins, you have registrations, you have face-offs. In the UFC, they're about to fight, so you should expect maybe a little violence. In wrestling, they're at least acting a fight, so you should expect it a little bit. You shouldn't expect this sport to come with violence as part of the show. And the thumbtack match, I was interested logistically based, as I said, coming up to it. Now you got Uncle John, who is somehow bleeding from his mouth. I don't understand what happened there.
Exactly.
And then you guys, I thought it was going to be a disaster because the first pin was a parallel pin and they never actually touched the pad with the thumbtacks on it. So I thought, okay, maybe this thing will go off and we won't even see somebody get impaled with a thumbtack. But, man, I don't know, man. Like, this is now, well, at least Jay Clean, X-Arm had an element of combat. You knew you were getting punched in the face. For real. You knew you were getting punched in the face in X-Arm. The thumbtack match, my God, man. And the line of the whole, I'm watching this. The best line I heard from the commentary team that did an amazing job, by the way, is "Don't worry." And Paul Maiden was reffing. The one guy said, "Don't worry, all three men at the table already have HIV." And I was like, oh my God. Because there was blood everywhere.
So here, Bill Woody was there in person. You know, entertaining match. Okay, and I'll give you that. So here's the thing. And I've said this over and over. I think I said it last week too. Every organization has something to offer for somebody in their sport. Totally get that, right? Now, my thing is when that match overshadows guys like Ron Bath, Ryan Bowen, RVJ, James Wall, Tim Breslin, Mendauskas Doskis. I mean, when that match outshadows those matches, and it was, from what I heard, it was a hell of an event because I'm telling you right now, I was intrigued about the thumbtack match until I saw the press conference, and then I was like, I'm not buying it now. I don't give a fuck how much it is. I'm not getting it because now it's just, I don't know. It's just the whole thing is like, you know why we struggle? And I want everybody in this chat right now to say something when I get done saying this. Why do you think we struggle? Here it is. You know why I think we struggle, Ryan? And I want your opinions too. It's because we, as an arm wrestling community, try to be somebody we're not. Why does WWE work? Because they don't try to be somebody else. Why does MMA work? Because they don't try to be somebody else. Fuck sakes. Wait. Oh, damn. We're at the 12-minute mark. Wait. I mean, for Pete's sakes, like slap boxing or slap fighting. What is it even called now? Where you put your hands behind your back.
Slap fighting.
Yeah. You know why that works and just leapfrog us in front of views? You know why? Because they don't try to be somebody they're not.
You're talking about authenticity.
Exactly. We are arm wrestlers. Stop trying to be like other people. This is why we fail. This is why we fail, right? So slap boxing. Do you see people coming down with robes and shit and fucking pyro and fireworks and shit? No. They come up there. They know what to expect. They don't expect a halftime show, right? They don't.
Yeah, no, I don't know, man. It was pretty wild. And it overshadowed what I thought was actually a really good card otherwise. Really good card. I was entertained enough that I didn't need that thumbtack match at the end. I thought I got my money's worth out of that card.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, and going forward, you got to look at this because there was more shit that happened over the weekend. But I'll say this, though. If we stop trying to be somebody we're not, and like I said, I'm not trying to, poo-poo on the promotion because, aside from that circus, they did an awesome job with the event. They've done that, but when you get Beerman involved, and this is not anything against him, I'm going to say this now at the 14-20 mark, nothing against him, but you know what to expect when you get somebody like him.
And you put him in the main event over, you put Uncle John and Beerman over top of the legendary guys like Tim Breslin and Ron Bath.
Yes.
Are on the undercard for the thumbtack match.
World champions, by the way. WAF world champions in their own right.
Yeah. Like guys that, in my opinion, deserve better than that. But I mean, they're paying, and whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, this is nothing against John and Evan because they agreed to do this kind of stuff and, fine, whatever. I'm all for it. Honestly, I like the press conferences. Those are pretty cool, except for that moment. But I like the build up to super matches or whatever. I like the press conference, the face off. I like that,
Yeah.
East versus West, at least their press conferences, they're at a table, they're controlled. Everyone gets their chance to speak on the mic. It's controlled. That entertains me right there because it's just talking. Oh, I can't wait. When you start bashing people in the head with beer, cans, I'm like, all right, dude,
Well, on a side note, what do you think about the two guys coming up and getting each other's face? Because that's a thing that they stole from boxing and MMA. And you don't see that anywhere else. And it's almost like they're going to fight.
Well, I mean, I understand. So here, I put it to you this way. Last year, when it was Paul Maiden and Evan Burgoyne, I did not expect that. You saw the talk, but I didn't think that would happen. You only get one chance to make a first impression. Is that how that thing goes? So they did that, and automatically that kind of got more people to buy. On the flip side, you kind of knew this was going to happen. So it's kind of like, okay, I already know this is going to happen. The only thing I don't know is when. And when it did happen, I was uninterested at that point.
Now, how much longer you want to spend on this topic before we get into the other stuff?
We can segue. We can put it in bow tie on this one because building a matchup is awesome. Now, let's segue to the other soapbox. There might be three of them, folks. So, part one of this soapbox of what I talked about now, we had the did you watch the Winter Blast event?
Some of it. I did watch. I obviously watched the Nanya Paul Italia match, which is, I don't know what I expected to see there.
Well, here's the thing, and I had and Greg Brown got wrapped in all this, and he was on my show the other day. We talked about it in depth. In case you didn't see it, check out my channel. It's on there in the live section. You'll see it. Here's the deal. When you have that much amount of money on the line, $6,500, mind you, okay? And by the way, Paul Italia and Uncle John will be on the shows tonight on Paul's channel, Armwrestling Buzz. Check it out. But
can I just say one more thing about that because somebody pointed it out?
Yeah.
That match also went full rounds. Was it a work?
Probably.
Okay, anyway, go on.
So I look at it like this. Anytime you have that much amount of money, and Ryan enlightened me. Back in the day, there wasn't that much money on the line for an arm wrestling match.
Well, that's there were some anomalies. Like the biggest one I think I saw at the time was like the Jerry Cataract Travis Bagent match, where there was like somebody put up $10,000, and then
like 15 grand.
Yeah, it was like 2-to-1 odds. Jerry had to put up 5, and Travis put up 15. I think was how it worked out, and so Jerry won.
You can see that match too. Go to Arm TV on YouTube, punch up Jerry Cataract versus Travis, and you'll see it right in its entirety right there. That's entertaining.
And that was
smacked inside the head with a beer can.
Amadeo was Travis's buddy. He put up the money, and Travis lost it for him. And then I think what Jerry did was, if I remember correctly, because Gary Roberts used to do that Arm TV Cribs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously the ripoff of the MTV one, but it was super entertaining. And they went to Jerry's house, and there was a pool table there. And if I remember correctly, he had like a little plaque made on it that said donated by Travis Bagent or something like that.
See, that's entertaining. That's funny.
Grand. Yeah. He used the 10 grand and bought a pool table.
That's funny. That's entertaining. So $6,500. Okay. Anytime you got that amount of money, one, you got to have a third person involved. Promoter. And back in the day, guys, boys and girls, you would have to go, hey, I'll put up my half to the promoter. He puts up their half to the promoter. That guy holds it to make sure your ass better be here or else you lose the money, period. Now, Winter Blast kicks off with the super matches they had. but Paul and Nanya want to back theirs up till 3:00 East Coast time because it was in Pennsylvania and noon on out west. And I was like, why the fuck are you doing that? But Paul had a good reason. He said he wanted to make sure all the West Coast people are watching. Rightfully so. I don't think anybody would have missed it regardless, because as soon as we got on the live feed, it was like, hey, do I miss the match yet? When's the match coming on? No, you're good. They're going back until 3:00. So that was the agreement. Then you start hearing stories about how Nanya didn't have all the money. Red flag number one. He had to go borrow some money from Dave Shell, one of the 98% crew. That's the red flag right there. What you should do with that amount of money is say, look, here's the deadline. Have the money in or the fucking match is off. Period. End of. Right? That's first thing is shoot. As a promoter, whatever the fuck. Oh, yeah, 20 minutes in, I can say that now. Wherever the fuck, right? So have that there first. Second of all, okay, 3:00, have your asses there, whatever. Now, apparently there was a fire drill that got pulled. Mind games were being played. And Paul said he was there around 2:40, something like that. But the thing is, what's to say? I'm sorry, but amateur police shouldn't have matches for that match, in my opinion. I know there's no policing it, but that's fucking stupid. Well, there you go. So Paul said he was there right before 3. Nanya wasn't there yet. And then I guess a fire alarm went off. He had to go run upstairs and stuff. But when he ran upstairs, he came back in different clothing, that kind of stuff. Here's the thing. Paul's upset because people were saying he wasn't there, this, that, and the other. And here's what I'm saying. If you watch the live feed, the main camera only focused on the stage. Not to the left, not to the right, on the fucking stage. Where the table is, Sean Hancock was the head ref. All we saw about 2:57, 2:58, Nanya's up there. Fucking doing all this shit. Where the fuck is Paul at? That kind of stuff. Apparently, Nanya said, I'm not going to be there till 4. So I don't know if Paul said, fuck it, I'm not waiting that long, and left. And then he came back and was late. But here's the thing. When you have that much money up, I ain't leaving nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. Fuck that. Because if Nanya's saying I'm not going to be there till 4, fuck you, give me my money, I'm out. Because we had an agreement. Hell, they had fucking contracts all signed, and it still got blundered up, So there you go. I don't know why Paul had to leave. Maybe because the fire alarm had to go get his dog and that kind of stuff, but it didn't look good on his end to other people, right? So Greg Brown's there, and I thought they were like that because Paul pulled Ryan Grondin at his event back in December, right? And all of a sudden, Greg Brown's doing what Greg Brown does. Oh, Paul's not here, yada, 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 this, that, and the other. And I think Paul got upset because he pretty much called him out, and he goes, look, man, my reputation's on the line. You're calling me out, and you're lying, and I got my fans, I got my promoters out there and all that kind of stuff. And I get where Paul's coming from that. But once again, if you're watching the live feed, like everybody said, everyone focused on the main table. That's where the fucking camera was at, on the main table. Nobody saw on the side and all that kind of stuff, right? But again, if I got that much money up to grass, I ain't going nowhere. I'm standing right by the table where the ref is. Hey, here's my money. What the fuck's going on? So it got delayed to where, fuck it, we're going to keep running some more matches for the tournament. And then Paul shows up and like, hey, what the fuck's going on? And all right, finish this match. Everybody get the fuck off the stage so we can get this match going. It's just a big clusterfuck, in my opinion.
Does the whole thing even matter? Like reputations, all this shit. Like, who cares, man? I mean, you had this 2 guys that are amateur arm wrestlers ruining each other's reputations. I see Paul's posts about, Nanya ordering steroids and all this shit that he's saying about him, and they're going back and forth like that. And then at the end of it all, when Nanya wins, he takes his shirt off and starts claiming he's natural and all this stuff. Okay, but
that could have been
all these weird posts, and then calls out who?
Auden Laird.
Auden Laird, who is, a gigantic human being compared to him, but whatever. I mean, it's the type of marquee, borderline celebrity match that he wants to get. And it's attention, but it's not, Well,
here's the thing. Let me ask you this.
Weird, different path.
Let me ask you this, Ryan. Let me ask the Can-Am crew in the chat. And I'm gonna say it right now, Nanya. I don't know you. I've never met you. Just seen you on, on the 98% show, talking loud and throwing the N-word out from time to time, by the way. Don't think I don't know that. But I'm going to tell you right now, you are not ready for Auden Laird. And even Auden, the guys that's been put in front of him, he's kind of whacked. And I don't know if he's kind of building up momentum. But I'm going to tell you right now, you do not have a chance with him because he's going to outweigh you by maybe 15, 20 pounds, give or take, maybe. And Aden's a tall guy. He has pedigree. And by the way, Nanya, you're strong in your spot. But what happens when somebody gets you out of that spot? Then what? Because if you watch that match with Paul and Nanya had one move and he fucking telegraphed the hell out of that move. He got all wound up. If somebody's doing this, what do you think is going to happen, Ryan? Ain't nobody fucking top rolling out of this. No one's going to fucking top roll like that. If they're wound up like that, what do you think is going to happen?
Exactly what happened. And it's not it just happened over and over again. Like, it's not, we didn't see a high level of technical arm wrestling.
It was just power, but I expected, and like I said, maybe, Paul was shell shocked because I don't know if I had $6,500 on the line and my head ain't right, and I'm like fucking, to the point where Sean Hancock, the head ref, had to tell people, get the fuck off the stage. There's too many people up here. Get off. In between matches, Paul's looking for his corner man and stuff, and it was some other guy, and then Sarah McKinney, you're in his corner. Hey, you got to try something else.
Yeah.
I was hoping, and then Paul went fucking King's move or open hand top roll. And let me say something about the King's move. Unless you are Crazy George or Michael Todd, stop. It's going to be an open top roll because your structures, you can't just learn that move and think, okay, I'm doing it now. No, that's years of being jacked up, whatever. Had Paul got a riser, and I'm not getting on Paul because I fucking said it on my show the other night. Had Paul got a riser a couple inches, maybe 3 inches, might have been all right to beat that press. But you don't have a riser. Nanya's taller than you. He's coming down like that, and you're like this. With a riser, now you might be like that, which might, diffuse that press to a certain degree. That's what I'm saying. Because he fucking telegraphed that move over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to oh shit, here we go. Well, I just got confirmation that I'm allowed to talk about something.
Ooh, yeah, let's hit it.
I got an offer from Knuckles Up.
Oh, hold on. Let me take a sip of my monster because this is gonna be good shit right here.
Now, it's a non-arm wrestling offer.
Okay.
I'm attending the event, hanging out, being part of the meet and greet, and then there's some stuff going on as part of the pay-per-view.
You going into the Knuckles? The
I'm going to be participating in. So it's going to be. What did you ask me?
Are you going to be in the Knuckles Up Hall of Fame?
Is that a thing?
I don't know, because if they're inviting you to go there, you're not pulling, and it's like must be something big.
Yeah. No. I'm going there. I'm going to participate in the event. I'm going to take place in the fan experience, and it's the one on May the 11th. So I'll be down in Jersey for that.
Nice. Now, congratulations on that.
I will be in shape in case they need a fill-in for the left arm. The right arm, I mean, if you guys don't know, like, I still got some healing to do. Like, it's going well, but the right arm won't be in shape for arm wrestling anytime soon. The left arm, however, I'll keep it ready. So if somebody drops out, I'll be there. They'll say, "Hey, Ryan, we need a fill-in." I'm there.
Hey, Ryan's on call. On call.
But I'll be there in the crowd. I'll be there at the fan experience, and I'll be helping out wherever I can down there. So between those guys in Texas, those are a couple of my favorite places to go.
Well, there you go.
New Jersey and Texas.
there you have it.
So Jody Williams maybe should come to that event as well.
You know what? Everything's intriguing, and I got my own thing going on. World Series of Arm Wrestling. Greg Sharp is on live, by the way, as we speak. But I'll be involved in that for the duration of 2024. So now, off the Nanya match with Paul Italia, Beer Man and Uncle John segues to the soapbox number 3. Promoting yourself.
Okay.
Promoting yourself.
Okay.
How does one go about that, right? Because some people know how to do it, promote the match, and I get all that. And, you know, sometimes it comes out with a bang, other times it comes out with a whim, and sometimes
man, this is a good topic.
Sometimes you're all about the sizzle and not the steak, right? So how does one promote themselves or promote a match? How does one, is there, and there's no one specific way, but how do you go about that, you know?
Well, that's the interesting part. So there's so many different ways. What we've seen lately is, you know, I'll use Auden Laird as an example. He's got a massive social media following.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that doesn't need to do any additional promotion because he's always doing it. You know what I'm saying? And then you take a guy, I'll even use a guy like Lachlan Adair. He's got a social media following, but he's not the most out there guy in the world. He's somewhere in the middle. But we're still interested in his matches. So is it just based on his potential and ability now and his ability to communicate that in appropriate or even subtle ways? Or is it other people picking up the torch and running with it? Like Dave Chafee, not much social media stuff going on with Dave Chafee, but we always tune in to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So are we talking about somebody that is elite that doesn't need to do it that much? Or are we talking about guys that are just up and coming? Because I guarantee you the fact that Uncle John and Evan were the main event means are they doing something right? Or are we just focused on the wrong thing?
Both. We'll use that as an example because here's the thing. Beerman and Paul Maiden last year, the build-up, Paul Maiden was on his show. He had Paul Maiden on that show. And the shit talking, that was funny to me. I loved it, you know? And the beer can was like, oh, what the fuck, you know? But when you do it again, it kind of
believed it. We believed it.
Right. And then he goes and gets whacked 3-0. So there you go. But, you know, that was more sizzle than the steak because the match didn't turn out right. It's like, what the fuck, you know?
But we also believed that because I think he really did, you know, ring Paul's bell a little bit and he wasn't overselling it. He just was legitimately, you know, seeing stars.
Yeah. And that might be, you know, who might be his, you know? And of course, you know, he got married that weekend. So his mind was all over the place. This one, when Uncle John, I love when Uncle John puts on a match, like the promotes the match. That's cool. Because it gives that little mystique, like, oh, okay, he's a shit talker, makes you want to watch. I didn't like the fucking press conference situation. I thought that was stupid, you know, honestly, in my opinion. Which make me not want to watch the match. And you saw it and you were like, oh, yeah, it was fucking. I thought what was going to happen was that it's going to be a lot of false starts. That's what I thought. You watched it. You could speak more about it than I would. But leading up to that, it was cool. I'll give you another example. You know, anytime Travis was involved in a super match, you know it's going to be funny, right? Because he entertains people. But he doesn't do it to where it's going to set the sport back 30 fucking years, though, either, you know? No. I like that. I'll give you another one. If anybody saw Tom Stubblebine and Freddie Sanchez, that build-up from last year all the way to December, there was a story behind that leading up to their match, you know? And it was fucking, like, intriguing. I want to watch it. And damn it to hell if I didn't sit in front of my fucking living room on my laptop watching it. It was cool, you know? But, again, nobody was dropping elbows from the top of the stage. Nobody was fucking Ric Flair chopping people across the chest. It wasn't that. It was arm wrestling, and they stuck to it. That's why that one worked for me. and I could be speaking, one side of it. That's what worked for me because it kept it like that. They didn't try to make it more than what it was. You know what I mean? That's just me,
But then you got this is a topic that can go all kinds of huge directions because I don't really recall Freddie Sanchez anything about him until Tom Stubblebine kept going at him and kind of put him on the map. Yeah. So that kind of worked in his favor, and now he's somebody that people care about and want to see. Jody, you've been grinding away at YouTube and content for years, and it's starting to pay off with some opportunities.
True, and I was one of those people, and got the nod for Arm Wars, got the nod for the Monster Factory, and I've been very fortunate to be invited back, but just my schedule doesn't line up to their dates as of now. So, but and I'll make a return trip to those places again down the road. But yeah, I mean, I didn't make a mockery and shit talk, and I know me and I had some face to face with people, and it was cool, it was fun, but we kept it arm wrestling, right? Yeah. We didn't sit there and fucking talk about each other's moms and all that kind of stuff. We kept it to what it is, like the Arm Wars face off where you're sitting there, you're looking at your opponent, and James Statham sitting right there and hey, what makes you think you're going to beat him? Oh, well, I'm going to tell you why. I'm cool with that because it's a controlled environment. East versus West, controlled environment. Hell, I think didn't Knuckles Up have a press conference?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
and we talked a little bit of shit about each other, but it was pretty tame, because nobody really hated each other. They just made really good, interesting matches. The crowd wanted to see. Those are all really competitive, on paper, awesome matches. Clifton, the chat is working, or the super chat's not working. Oh shit. Okay, never mind.
Oh damn. I mean, even East versus West, when there was Jerry versus Hermes, and there's a little banter back and forth, that's fun to me, even leading up, even when Ingen has the opponents on his show and they go back and forth, that's intriguing because they kept it to where it's arm wrestling. They don't try to make it anything else, and that's where I think we're failing. And I hate, for people who think that we as an arm wrestling community have to go out on the limb and act a certain way. That's what's killing the fucking sport at the same time, too.
It might be working.
I mean, I don't know. Am I crazy for thinking it that way or what?
Not at all, man. Not at all.
Because
we've got 30 people in here. We only got 8 likes. That's a problem.
Man, today is Whopper Wednesday. What the hell is going on? Hit the like button. Although I probably said that when only 2 people when we start the show. Hit the like button, y'all. Hit it, But yeah, I mean, it's getting to a point now where it's going, okay, you're going to turn a lot of people off. And now the old school pullers are going, what the fuck is this? And they're like, you know what? I want nothing to do with that. And like I said, Arm Guys works for them. It does. It works for them what they're doing. But now, when it got views, because we're talking about it, so apparently it is working, but we're talking about it in a different way. Dude, that's fucking stupid.
It's not getting views because of the arm wrestling part of it. It's getting views because of the gimmick. So even in pro wrestling, if you don't have a strong match, you better have a strong gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
The latter.
You might not be the best wrestler, but if your mic skills are legit, they'll have you on.
Yeah. Why is Mick Foley famous? Because he flew off the top of Hell in a Cell. It's but that's an element of that activity, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's there's no signs of it stopping, and I think Arm Gods has found their niche and will continue to do it, and the rest of us have a choice to participate or not,
right?
Or just simply not buy it and don't pay attention to it. But I would never encourage anyone to do that. There's going to be an audience for that.
Yeah.
I'm probably not participating anymore as far as, throwing my money behind it. But then again, Jay Clean is right. There were strong matches leading up to that. And a guy like Bowen, like he's limited on where he can compete because I think he's on the outs with a couple of the major promotions.
And one more comment about this, and this might hit the nail on the head and drive it home for you folks. When you have that kind of stuff, gimmick, and I'll use that term loosely, gimmick, okay? When you start doing that kind of stuff, you're going to start to sashay into the world of make-believe. Then you got to go, okay, are these matches all these matches staged? Don't be so WWE-esque to where now the actual arm wrestling things are fucking staged.
Well, tell you what, if I ever find myself in a thumbtack match, I'm fighting like hell to not let my arm go into those thumbtacks.
Well, first of all, I would never partake in that in the first place. That's just me.
What if they offered you a hardcore championship match, Jody? You wouldn't take it?
No, I mean that goes against everything I've built my stuff on. Like I didn't get into arm wrestling back in 2010 just to fucking sit there and start faking matches for money. I'm like, no, that's not. If I want to do that, I'd fucking go into professional wrestling on the indie circuit.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
I know.
But now when you start doing that, and you know, and when I'm saying like real stuff, I don't mean Game of Arms. We all know that was kind of staged. That was for entertainment. We get that, right? But when you start having real tournaments, well, hell, that wasn't even a tournament. When you have a real event card with matches, and all of a sudden when you start having matches to where it's like borderline, kayfabe or whatnot, then it's like, okay, what else is not real? And then you got those, legends of the sport attached to that event.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, hard to say no when somebody says, hey, you want a free trip to Ireland? I'll pay you to come and arm wrestle this card. But, oh, by the way, you are on the undercard of a couple of lower tier guys that have a gimmick.
Well, that's the thing, though, because I got into the sport to compete. And I was getting too old to play a fucking softball, right? So I did the semi-pro football. I did, semi-pro rugby. I did all that shit. Body was breaking down. I can't do this anymore. So I got into arm wrestling. For me, it's the competition, right? That's what we work out for, 4 or 5 times a week, whatever the case may be. While we get together with our clubs on the weekends to get ready for this, for something we train for, and to sit there and just kind of like, like no, I'm not doing that.
So sometimes it goes over the line too, where there's only one active participant. Mm-hmm. You can probably assume what I'm talking about. And there are lasting things that go on beyond that. And when one guy is going down the path of the gimmick and one guy just wants to arm wrestle and not be fucking bothered, you end up with somebody getting dragged into a situation they don't want, and it has lasting effects. For example, when I got that invitation to the high five, I asked my daughter, who arm wrestled at last year's nationals, if she wanted to attend so that I could show her what the best of the sport, how they behave, how they act, and how they treat each other. And she has no fucking interest in going to another arm wrestling event at the moment. And it could take me a long time to convince her again. So, yeah, Jay Clean knows.
Yeah. Well, look at Steve's Steve's comment. Sports entertainment has proven to be a lot more profitable. Yeah, that's the issue. Sports entertainment. Arm wrestling is not sports entertainment. It ain't. It's not.
Yeah, and you got a small handful of guys that are going to make a lot of money off of arm wrestling. But at the end of the day, the ones that make the most are still the ones that are the tip of the spear as far as talent goes and as far as ability goes.
Right.
I don't think they're going to bridge the gap between gimmick and, the Levons of the world.
I guarantee you this. I tell you this. I'll be damned. And I know for a fact when Levon and Devin step on, ain't no kayfabe there. There is no kayfabe. So, Steve, no disrespect, but I'm telling you right now, You get those two monsters on the table, ain't nothing kayfabe about that. Nothing kayfabe. Okay? Nothing sports entertainment like whatsoever. Yeah. Now, Ryan, what you just said, and I think Jay Clean made a comment way back up in the early part of the comments that when you have amateur guys making that much money and they're amateurs, hey, I'm not hating on them. If you can make that much money, good for you. It don't affect my pocketbook one way or the other. What other people make, if you got two guys who are amateurs, right, and they're getting all these matches, you know, because of who they are, social media following, cool. Hey, I'm with you. Kudos to you guys, you know. And by the way, I'll go on and say this. If it doesn't make me jealous, but when you have that much money on the line, you expect a lot more for the product. You know what I'm saying? Now, it was a live feed, so no one had to pay for it. Thank you, Clifton. By the way, I saw it, Ryan.
God damn, look at that. Clifton. Thank you, buddy.
You know,
super sticker is working.
There you go. So, you know, if Paul Italia and Nani want to go out there for fucking $6,500, fucking more power to them. I wish I had that kind of thing, but it doesn't bother me. But at the same time, it's like, okay, at what point do you want to see those guys? Okay, who are you going to really pull now? You know what I mean?
Jesus, Clifton. That's two.
You know what I'm saying? My man. And Clifton, by the way, he's got some big stuff coming up too. AJ Henson. God, there's somebody else too. Clifton, who else did you have? I know you got AJ Henson coming up and somebody else. But I'm telling you, I mean, guys, I mean, you want to keep this sport going and you want more people involved in our sport. That ain't one of them. You know, that catastrophe is not one of them.
Hey, we got a comment here that's interesting about the Paul brothers.
John
so there's
Terry,
a couple things to unpack there. Number one, Paul brothers, I don't think they're interested in building anything. I think they're interested in profiting off of things.
Who's the Paul brothers? Oh,
Jake and
Paul? Okay.
Yeah.
Logan? Okay.
Logan, yeah. So they're going into a spot where they can capitalize on the fame of pre-built athletes. In order to do that, you know, they would have to find, in arm wrestling, there wouldn't be nearly the money. It wouldn't be nearly the money for them to come into arm wrestling and do that. To fight, the equivalent of fighting Mike Tyson would be to arm wrestle John Brzezinski like 5-10 years from now. It's
don't even get me started with that one. Like, why?
Who's gonna? Yeah, at that point, it's a young guy beating up on a guy that, you know, hasn't trained, and it's, I don't know, it doesn't work.
So here's the thing, and the Claymore Arm Wrestling says, do something right. No disrespect to Neil, but social media is key. No, I totally get that. We're in a world where social media is king right now. King, K-I-N-G. Yes, I do get that. It's just how you present yourself. Now, which one's because one Paul brother is in the WWE, the current United States champion, and the other one's about to fight Mike Tyson. Is that Logan?
No, Logan's in WWE.
Okay, it's one of the Pauls. Anyway, social media boys, now look where they're at now. Okay. One fought Mayweather. Okay. Now, Mike Tyson, okay, and you know, and for a guy his age, he still looks phenomenal, by the way, first and foremost. But why would you fight somebody who's like clearly in his 50s? Like, I don't understand what the draw is. And I don't want people out there thinking it's going to be the Mike Tyson of fucking 1991. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. So? No, I mean, hell, I got sucked into it because remember they had that one-off between him and Roy Jones
that he clearly won and held back on, and Roy Jones looked like he didn't even train.
Right. I mean, I got sucked into that. It's like going, no, I mean, we are not going to see Mike Tyson of the old. We're not. Father Time will always win. He's always undefeated. And you're going to get somebody younger. It's like going, okay, come on, you know?
Yeah. This is weird because somebody's mentioned a name in the chat. This is the equivalent. So the Paul brothers coming in and doing boxing is kind of like the equivalent of what Larry Wheels attempted to do, but he actually was taking the sport seriously. Well, I think they're taking boxing seriously, to be honest, but you know, they're picking on washed up, you know, stars of the past or guys from a different sport.
Right. It's one thing, and like I said, boxing is a little different than arm wrestling. That's a whole different way of training, being in shape, and that kind of stuff. If Mike Tyson in his 50s and John Brzezinski in his 50s, totally different things. Two totally different things, right?
Yeah, John Brzezinski still is, top 5. It's maybe top 10, but he's definitely up there.
Right. I mean, and Larry Wills, he did take this sport, seriously. Yeah, but he's also he's not all the way in because he's still doing, I believe he's still doing bodybuilding shows, is he not?
I have no idea, man.
I still think he's doing that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like, all right, so I mean, hell, remember the flavor of the month? Remember when KHED came on the scene?
Yeah, I got some weird stories about that I'll tell someday.
Because, that guy came on the scene, smacked, Schoolboy. And, of course, Ryan Bowen picked up the bones. I'll pull you too. Same hand. And go through him. It's like, okay, Ryan, that didn't do you any favors because you pull somebody the same arm. He just got through beating, Schoolboy. I think it was like 5-1 or 4-2. And no one expected KHED to win, but his amazing grip strength kind of set him straight. And all of a sudden, Ryan's, fresh as a daisy, licking his chops. Then he pulls him later on and beats him, 6-0? I'm like, well, fuck, dude, the guy already pulled. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But then KHED kind of wasn't taking it seriously, but he's like, yeah, I just do it for whatever. I'm training because I think he was like a MMA fighter or something like that too. So, then we haven't heard anything from him since then. And that seemed like it because he was on King of the Table 1 or 2.
I don't know. It's been a while. Both? I don't know.
Yeah, because that might have been one. The second one he pulled, he beat Larry Wills.
Yeah.
And that's when we thought Larry Wills should just go ahead and do tournaments instead of arm wrestling because anytime he'd go out there, he'd always lose super matches. And we all, at that time, we were saying, hey, Larry, do some tournaments. Comes out west, go California, walks through everybody in the tournament. Okay, now we got it going on, Then all of a sudden he kind of just, disappears, resurfaces for one tournament, disappears again. So, it all depends on, how much you put into the sport, training. It's all about marketing yourself, honestly. I do believe that now. Now that we have social media being the big thing, yeah, you market yourself. But I guess if you're a heel in wrestling terms, a bad guy, if you're a heel, everybody wants to be a heel. Evan Burgoyne, perfect. The guy's a heel. He likes to piss people off. Everybody wants to see get his ass kicked. Cool. Uncle John can be that heel too, but now you got two heels going at it, right? If you're going to stick to the story, you had two heels going at it. Nope. Who the fuck cares? We want to see blood and guts and all that kind of stuff and false starts and purposely, bleed blood everywhere. It's like going, okay.
I'm waiting. And there were false starts in that match that led to some blood being drawn.
But yeah, what sells? I mean, Devin was the golden child for so many years, and so was Brzezinski, and Travis was the guy that was the heel in loudmouth, and you want to see that. Then Michael Todd's been the same. It's just people didn't like his style, and they made him a heel, and Michael Todd didn't do nothing. He's always been the same.
He was the guy that he was like when Rocky Maivia first started, and no matter what he did, he came up with a big smile on his face, and they booed the hell out of him.
Yeah.
Until he started being an asshole. Then they started liking him. But Jay Clean with the super chat.
Thank you, Jay.
$10. Thanks for the show today. Thanks for watching.
And now Devin has morphed into the heel. He's morphed into the heel,
Yeah.
And the quietness is kept. I think Levon might be in heel because I think people are like tired of seeing him just kind of like, I'm the guy at the beat. I'm like, you pull once a year.
Well, Levon's got to win. I mean, if he doesn't win, nobody's going to care about him anymore. Like he pulls so infrequently that once somebody beats him, it's going to
be like, oh, thank God. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now let's go ahead and see what's next. Because then, Tom Nelson made a comment a while back on one of the talk shows, and it was legit. When Pushkar, unfortunately, God rest his soul, got in that car wreck and passed away, left us all, I thought he was the guy at the moment, at that time. And all of a sudden now, Levon was annoyed at this guy. I think it had something to do with the top 8, and he walked through everybody, rightfully so. Now it's like, who's going to push him the best? Devin tried it, went down 6-0. Hermes tried it, fucking pushed him to the limits and respirators and breathing, all that kind of stuff, So we saw that chink in the armor going, okay, there's something there. And now Devin's coming back with a new game plan. He beats, everybody in front of him except for Gennady. And then now it's Levon. And so if he beats Levon, and I hope he does, because we need somebody active as a champion. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. But do you want to sit there and have Devin be your heavyweight champion, super heavyweight champion? Because now everybody's like just kind of sitting there waiting because he has all these titles. You can't pull them all. But now people are kind of going like this, like, okay, if he's focused on Levon, super heavyweight champion, if I'm a heavyweight going, what the fuck? Now I got to wait for Devin.
The division needs to move on, and Engen's going to have to consider the interim championships.
There you go.
Because, you can't possibly defend 3 belts in close succession. Like, it's going to take years for each of those things to get defended. So I don't know. I think there's probably a point where he makes a decision to just stick with 1 or 2, but yeah.
And then just the fluctuating the weights in and out, it's like going, if being the guy is the number 1 priority, then fuck the heavyweight class. I'm focused on Levon and super heavyweight and being the top guy on the mountain. Honestly, that's just my opinion. But who cares what I think, right?
It's going to be a lot more challenging to maintain super heavyweight strength than heavyweight strength.
Right. That's just me, but who the fuck knows? But yeah, so that was my soapbox for today, Mr. Espey.
That's an epic soapbox, man. I appreciate it, and glad I could participate.
Yes, Jay Clean, Clifton Erickson, thank you very much for the super chats. Ryan, do you have about 5 minutes when we go off the air to discuss some things? Don't worry, guys, you ain't missing nothing, because every time I say that, Scott McGinnis goes, what the fuck? So you're not missing anything. Trust me on this one. You're not missing nothing.
Well, let's get off of here right now, and we'll do our thing. And thanks for watching, everybody. I'm sure the comments are going to be wild on this video, so have at it.
Y'all post this on social media. People are going to get pissed off at me, but I didn't slander nobody.
No,
I just told it like it is.
All right. So long, everybody.